the last video, I took you through the Kepteasy platform, showing you the account, consulting, web, and marketing web apps. Today, we're going to look into some of the Django architecture and how the multi-tenant stuff works and comes together. As well, then we'll do a deep dive into 4 of the more interesting pages that help this platform stand out. So some code, some backend, and some deep dive on how things work all in one video. First, I'm going to show you the Django backend and how the multi-tenancy works, including some code, some middleware, some models, and a quick views file. And then we're going to go into a deep dive of 4 of the pages, the white label branding, the page visibility, and then I'll take you into the marketing performance health score and the web ticket section. If you're building a SaaS program or a multi-client platform, then this video is for you. If you're into Django framework, SaaS, software as a service, if you're into client portal management or just client management software, or if you're a consultant, a web designer, developer, or a marketer or an agency, then this video is for you. You should subscribe to the channel as I'm sharing a lot of this build, and please like the video. And now I want to jump over into the back end here, into my VS Code where I am building this. And this is just the staging file folders right here. Because it's just more organized, it's neater. I don't have all the other apps and some other programs and stuff where the production folder is. We're just going to go through this. You can see the account, the consulting, the marketing, the web. And if you've been here in the previous videos, you've seen the front end of those web apps. Also, and here's the investing, and there'll be a little sneak peek a little bit later into the investing. We'll just quickly jump into the account here. I'm building this in VS Code and Django and Python in the back end here, along with some Tailwind for the front end styling. We'll just jump into the members. And so actually, before I do that, each one of these has its own folder. And the reason is because this is how it's organized online, is each one of these folders or apps has its own subdomain. And I've done this for various reasons. The pros are just that it's better organized, it's better on resources, and it's just a little bit easier to scale doing it this way. The only real con that I've ran into is just some of the double work that you have to do. Most of it's not, most of it's self-contained, but just as far as like the way I've done it for the multi-tenant and the organizations is I've made sure that each web app has the account portion in it. And so when I'm making a change on account, I often have to put it over into the other web apps, and that just helps with the communication in the web apps so that everything runs smoothly. But otherwise, I did this on very early decision just to help keep it cleaner, more organized, and it would just be a bloated mess if I put it all in one subdomain or all in one app. The only thing is it does share the database. So I wanted to make sure that there wasn't a bunch of different databases. So each web app communicates with the same database. And so we're just going to jump into the account, into members here, and a quick look at just the middleware. And so it's not a huge file. And basically, we're just creating a class of an active organization middleware. And essentially what we're doing is just requesting the organization and getting some attributes of the user. And then if there's a user and if the user is authenticated, then we're checking the profile and the organization. And this allows us to see just if it's a professional, if it's an agency, if it's a staff, a client, and just the information that we need there. We see if it's configured properly or not. And if it's not, then there's none. And then that obviously means that you can't access certain things. And if there is a profile in an organization, then we're trying to see if it's an active organization. If it is, then we set the org is a profile is active. And then if not, it sets it to a default. And then it just returns the response that is created within this middleware. And this just allows each app, like if we go into, say, the consulting, we look at members here, it has a middleware as well. And that just allows each app to easily access and keep the information on the profile and the organization all together there. And so then I'm just going to jump into the members models file. And this is a pretty solid models file. And so if you don't know Django, you're new to Django, what the models files do is it really communicates with the database, and it actually sets sort of the database fields. And so you create this, and then you have to, it's called migrating it, which then creates these fields in the database. And then that just allows you to store information in the database when you want ongoing, and then to access that information. And so creating a class here of organization, getting the user as well. And then just setting org types, professionals, agencies, and then some other information, the name, the owner, the org type, when it's, who it's created by, when it was created, and then just saving that information. And then we have an organization membership. So then we also set the role, whether it's owner, staff, client, or support. And then just some user role stuff that gets stored. Create some properties here, and then the profile. And so this is where stuff like first and last name, marketing consent, phone number, time zone. So this is where actually users, even clients or professionals or agencies set this information on the front end in their account with a little bio if you want. And then active organization, Stripe customer ID, so it just makes it easier to do billing with. Plans if they have them. And then get the current membership so that we can just see if the member's active and what their current membership is. Then create a bunch of properties, and then into an organization invite. So this works with the onboarding. And a portal config and organization app tier. And so the portal config, and you'll see this a little bit later, that is with this app slug, is where the platform knows which web app each user has access to. And then the app tier is for professionals or organizations, depending on what tier of the platform they have. And so with the multi-tenant, professionals and agencies can set plans. And then at the same time, I need to have the ability for them to sign up at a different tier level. So one of them's a communication between the professional and the client, and the other one's between the Kepteasy and the professional, to keep that organized like that. And so that's actually like a big bulk of the multi-tenant stuff right there. And then it's just a matter of how that's all accessed and communicated. So a big part of it is just the models file and then the middleware with the communication. And then I just want to jump into something like the portal config here. And so then what this does is it sets some default pages for which pages you can access. Right now they're all true. So that if something has to fall back to just a default, then it looks into here to see which pages you have access for. So then there's a function get pages for org. And it's just looking at which organization the pages. So it has the base. And if it's not an org, it just returns a base. Otherwise, it'll look into the file to see what it has. And then it also sets pages for the org. And I'll show you this a little bit later in one of the deep dives we do on the pages. And so that's actually just kind of the main backend for the multi-tenant and the organization. And so that's the look into the back end of the Kepteasy platform and the Django. And actually, what I'm going to do now is, this video, it ran a little bit longer than I wanted to. So I know I said previously that we're going to do a deep dive into 4 of the pages and take a sneak peek of the investing. What we're actually going to do is I'm going to put that in the next video now. So in the next video, we're going to take a deep dive on those 4 pages to look in more depth on the branding, white label customization, the page visibility, the marketing health score, and the web tickets. And then I'll give you a sneak peek of the investing and what I have so far for some of the code in the back end. And we'll just split this into 2 videos. And that just allows me to kind of give you a little bit more time for this kind of thing, like the code and the back end, and then the deep dive and the investing. It just needs a little bit more time as opposed to like the really, really quick fire, because it's some pretty complex stuff. Sometimes there's a lot to talk about. So that'll be the next video. And, I hope you tune into that one. Kepteasy is built on the Django platform. The main reason I did it first was because of its use of Python, and I have some proprietary solutions that I've built in Python, and so that allows me the ability to get those public. But what was awesome about this is when I switched the platform to become a multi-tenant, Django is the perfect framework for that, along with the Python, to build these dynamic type of websites and make it easy to do the SaaS, the software as a service. And so if you're into multi-tenant Django SaaS stuff, or if you're a consultant, marketer, web designer, or agency that's looking for a change or to get into a client portal, or you're looking into client management systems, then subscribe to the channel because I'll be documenting more of this build along the way. Please don't forget to like the video and share it around. Comment, ask any questions that you have about this, and I'll see you in the next one.